Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, episode 209.
Whoa!
Ooh.
This is Chris, and joining me today are...
Ames.
Caitlin.
And Jakey.
Oh no, where's he going?
Jakey.
And
That's what I
on
get for
today's
sitting in a
episode...
spinny chair.
And on today's episode, we will be discussing Sons and Daughters and Behind the Lines. First up on Sons and Daughters, Worfst's out puttering through the galaxy with General Martok on his big-ass bird of prey, and they pull on some new soldiers. Gabrielle Union, 3 other people, and oh shit, Alexander Rozhenko.
Isn't he like 5?
He's all grown up.
Somehow he's 18 now,
Might be
Oh.
16, you don't know.
and he's a big ol' Klingon warrior, he thinks, just because he put the
Whoa.
shirt on. And Worf is like, what the fuck is that wimp doing here?
And that's what everybody else on the crew thinks also.
Pretty
Yep.
much, yeah, especially once they find out he's actually Worf's kid. They're like,
Nepotism
"Oh,
much?
yeah."
No, really, I swear, he's not my kid.
Yes, yeah, no, it's like, you don't get it actually. This is probably the opposite of... If Worf knew this was happening, he would have put a stop to it.
Mm.
But yeah, they give him a hard time. He gets into a fight in the mess hall with some fella, and Worf breaks it up for him, and Martok's all like, God damn it, Worf, you're not making his position any easier here. And then he fucks up he makes everyone think they're getting attacked because he forgot to delete a battle drill from the sensors.
That was funny.
And eventually him and Worf, have an argument where, you find out, oh, no, Alexander isn't as dumb as we thought. He does know his father is terrible. And it's a little awkward because you actually kind of feel bad for the little shit for 5 minutes.
Only 5 minutes, and then not again.
And then he locks himself in a closet by accident.
Yes.
Wasn't
And-
by accident. We'll get to this at the end, because I was very confused on that scene.
Yeah, I have thoughts.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that was... Okay.
So, after the lock-in, Worf's like, all right, for some reason, I'm going to ask Martok to make you part of the House of...
Martok.
Martok.
I almost said Moog. And I will teach you to be a warrior, and you will teach me to be a father. And sweet, and I don't think we ever see
Aw.
Alexander again after this, but I'm
Good.
not
No,
positive.
we get him. I think we get him one more time.
Do we? Okay.
Tell us your comment when he said, teach me to be a father, Jake.
Oh yeah, Worf is like, I'll teach you how to be a warrior, and you teach me how to be a father. And I'm just like, no, dude, you're supposed to be doing both of those things. It's not his job to
That's-
teach you how
yeah.
to be a father.
That is true.
Alexander's never been a father. How would he know?
That he
Yeah.
knows of.
He's 5 years old! Ugh. Wow.
He just winked at that one female Klingon and knocked her up.
With a wink?
With a
Damn.
wink.
He's got that sexy House of Moog energy.
Wow. I mean, Kalar was his mom. Kalar
True,
was dead
true.
sexy.
Big,
Yeah.
no honor energy.
Meanwhile, on Deep Space Nine, the occupation
Terok Nor.
What did I say? Deep. Meanwhile, on Terok
What
Nor,
did I say?
the occupation goes apace. And Zial pops by. She's like, "Hi,
Yay.
Kira. I'm here to visit. Thanks for getting me set up on Bajor. But let's be honest, they're all looking at me weird because I'm Gul Dugat's kid."
Hmm.
And she's like, "Look, I have a surprise. I want to show you and Dad. Please come to dinner." And Kira's like, "Ugh, for you." And turns out she's really good at art.
Is she?
And there's a certain... Anyway, we'll get to that.
Well, people are telling her she is anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, she has been compared to both Bajoran and Cardassian masters. So she's applying to art school and not applying. She's applying to have her pieces in in
Gallery.
an exhibition.
Mm.
And
By the,
they-
art secretary.
yeah,
The
So-
Cardassians.
they're Kira's therefore kind of hanging out with Dukat more than she normally would for the sake of Zial, and then he sends her a dress and she almost likes it, and then she's like, "What the fuck am I doing?" And it's
No, she doesn't almost like it. She likes it.
well, I mean,
Nice dress.
it is. But but then she, Zial's like, "Don't make me choose." Like, I won't. He's your dad. I get it, even though I think he's Hitler. And we just kind of leave that there.
And we
It's a
never
cute little
actually get to
B-plot.
see...
It is. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It just, I feel like there will be more resolution later, probably.
Yeah. What were you gonna say,
We're
Caitlin?
in that phase of DS9 where stuff is going to get resolved later.
Oh, I was just saying that we didn't get to see anybody in the dress.
No,
Oh,
that's
that's
true.
true.
It's a real shame. Which was a real shame.
I mean, there's
'cause
no way a dress that
it was going to fit both of
yeah,
them.
exactly.
I said the
unless it's like
same thing.
future tech.
Mm.
Oh, it could be.
Oh,
yeah, I
that'd be
said the
cool.
same thing. It's like Zial is not a big girl by any stretch, but compared to Nana, she's enormous.
Well, she's also
Nana's so little.
She's also shorter.
Yeah, I think yeah.
She's shorter and broader.
Yeah.
Like, she has wider
And
shoulders.
lizardier.
even. Yes.
Yeah.
She's a stout lass.
She's not even stout. She's just...
Well, like I said, that's the thing. She isn't. It's just that
Nana's
compared to
very
Nana
thin.
Visitor.
But, yeah, no, it's like, it's future material and or the One Ring. It just changes shape to fit whoever possesses
In
it
which
at the
case,
moment.
we sure as fuck don't need a tailor.
That's true. Although I was thinking, so we see that Zial was cooking for this little dinner that they had. We didn't actually end up seeing the food, which I was a little disappointed in because I only watched Star Trek for the food shots. But I was thinking, I wonder if Zial cooks a lot, like if she's a cook, and I wonder like if she's hanging out with Garrick and she's cooking, like baking a cake, and she mixes up the batter, and then she says to Garrick, "Hey, you want to lick the spoon?"
No, that's what Garrick says to Julian.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, did they add a scar to Ducat's spoon? Because I noticed
didn't
in
notice.
I noticed in this episode he had one, but then I was like, wait, has that always been there and I'm just noticing, or is that new?
I did
Spoon did
not
look a
notice a
little odd.
scar.
Mm,
Yeah, he definitely had like a cut across it.
interesting.
Hmm.
You know who's become one of my breakout favorite characters
Quark.
in this
Nog?
episode and also next episode too? We'll talk about
Martok.
him. Damar.
Oh, Damar.
Like,
I mean, breakout in that we haven't seen him almost at all yet.
well, I mean, he's been, the thing is, he's been around. Like, he's been there. He's been a named character for a long time, and he's always, hanging out with Ducat.
Yeah.
He really hasn't got to do much, and in these 2 episodes he does.
That's
and
true, that's
he's
true.
just such a piece of shit.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of.
And I love it.
Speaking of, so what I did earlier was I found the script for this episode because there was a cut scene that featured more Damar.
Oh.
But they cut it from
Oh.
the episode, and Casey Biggs, I believe,
Casey
said
Biggs.
later on, like, oh, they cut this scene, so now it's a little unclear why I'm doing certain other things in other scenes. So I found this scene, and I think we should do a dramatic reading of it.
Okay.
If you guys have it handy, it's going to feature Ducat, Damar, and Kira. So who wants to play whom?
I think it's your pick. Dealer's
Okay.
choice.
Jake, Ducat, Caitlin, Kira, Chris, Damar,
Works for me.
and I'll read some stage directions.
Sure.
Wait, who am I reading?
Can you read
Ducat.
Ducat and be
I'm
as
Ducat.
sexy as possible?
And just so everyone knows, we're seeing this cold. Only Ames knows
We've
what's
never
coming.
read this before.
Oh yeah, it's real fun. It's super fun. Interior, wardroom. Ducat sits at the head of the conference table before an audience of low-grade ND Cardassian officials. 1 or 2 ND, I don't know what ND stands for, Bajorans and Kira. Half-empty glasses of Kanar litter the table. Ducat leans back in his chair, fingertips pressed together, enthralled by the sound of his words. The weary expressions of his audience indicate the meeting has gone on for some time.
In closing, let me emphasize again that Cardassia's gift of 15 industrial replicators to Bajor ushers in a new age of understanding and cooperation between our 2 peoples. Hand in hand, we will march into a new era of peace and prosperity as Dominion allies.
Ducat indicates he has finished. The Cardassians tap their Kanar glasses on the table as a form of applause. The Bajorans still aren't convinced this is good news, but they join in the applause. I'm sure they do their little Bajoran clap.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That will be all. Major Kira, may I have a word, please?
As the NDs exit, Kira rises and comes over.
Have you heard? The Cardassian Institute of Art has decided to exhibit 3 of Zial's drawings.
Really? That's wonderful. She must be excited.
I'm hosting a celebration for her tonight in my quarters. I hope you'll join us.
What time?
21:30? Unless I'm unavoidably delayed.
The busy life of an interstellar despot.
I prefer the term tyrant.
Kira almost smiles. She's in a good mood, and for once the banter with Ducat isn't so bad.
She calls banter?
I was thinking of signing Damar to escort Zial to the opening.
Damar? You can't be serious.
Oh, he's a fine officer from a good family.
He's a self-righteous sycophant who despises everything Bajoran.
I assure you, Major, Damar doesn't despise your people.
Then why does his upper lip curl every time he says the word Bajor? Bajorans could use a lesson in respect.
He does no such thing.
Damar enters behind her with a pad.
Go, Ducat.
Ah, Damar, impeccable timing as always.
Sir, the Bajoran delegation requests that the replicators be shipped by Bajoran transports.
Kira laughs outright. Damar abruptly stops and glowers at her.
Thank you, Damar. That will be all.
You heard the Major.
Sir?
We'll continue this discussion another time.
Very well.
He executes a perfect about face and strides from the room.
I believe I owe you an apology. You and the Bajoran people.
Ducat's perfect Damar imitation causes them both to burst out laughing.
Kiss me.
Oh no! It's a humorous, warm moment between two enemies, and for this brief instant, it's almost possible to forget all that's happened between Kira and Ducat in the past.
No, it fucking isn't.
It probably fucking isn't, but it's also it colors Damar in an interesting way that we don't get to see a ton of yet because Damar is still kind of being formed around us.
Yeah.
But it's very clear that he's a piece of shit, and this is I believe this scene.
Yeah, and it's some of that, because I think what it was in the actual episode, they cut after Kira's insult.
Yeah. I actually thought that it was an odd cut in the episode.
Yeah, it does kind of explain.
Noticed it. They're like, that scene just kind of ended there.
I would have at least kept his retort, even if they didn't want to keep the whole scene.
Yeah.
I don't know, it feels very Ducat and would have been nice to have.
I prefer Tyrant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, because he laughs and it cuts his laugh.
Yeah.
In a weird way. Yeah, that's an interesting little scene.
Yeah, we get, like I said, we get quite a bit more of him in the next one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more and more Damar as well, so.
Yeah, I know he expands over time.
Like a sponge.
Big gray sponge.
Yeah. You know who I really love in these two episodes, though, is Quark. And we have another link, because we're going to talk about root beer in both episodes, and that's going to be fun. But Quark, kind of quasi joining the Resistance, but keeping it at arm's length is also kind of cool.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, like Ducat, always with the scheming, realizing the way to Kira's affections might be via Zial.
Oh, yeah. And I can also imagine...
wanting to play house.
Yeah, like
that scene where they're both looking at her paintings is, very creepy.
Well, because you feel the, surrogate family thing forming, just like he wants, and she's not noticing it.
Yeah, here's my question then, is what is best for Zial? Because Zial is still very much in a place where she doesn't belong anywhere.
Yeah, no.
Like you'd think, Bajor is a good place for her, she's going to be safe there. Safe in the biggest fucking air quotes, because you never know what's going to happen on Bajor. They could have to yell at Cloud again. You never know when that's going to happen.
True.
But also, she is never going to be accepted on Bajor, because she's got a spoon in her head, even though it's a little one.
Yeah.
Honestly, being on the space station is probably the best place for Zial. Because the two people that, the one person she's ever gotten support from, really, Kira, is there.
Quark.
And it gives her,
I was going to say, actually, no, Garrick. No!
But also Garrick's presumably somewhere on
Garrick's
Starbase, 375 there.
Good. But no, that's very true.
Yeah.
It's got to be real tough for her, because I do enjoy that she's here being a character. She is a little bit of a prop sometimes, which gets unfortunate, but I think she's You're also seeing her kind of being developed a little bit more, which is fun.
Well, it kind of sucks too, though, that like, I don't know. I feel like she's there in good faith because she wants to like have a relationship with her father, but her dad is just kind of still using her as an afterthought. Like the whole dress thing, the fact, just the idea.
Oh yeah, that he just
that he's
regifts
like,
it to her.
it's for you.
Why does the
There's
ass
some-
say "I heart Kira" on it?
Caitlin said something very similar.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it was, I thought, a little weird. It's like, here's this dress I wanted to give this woman I really want to bone. I guess you can have it, daughter.
Mm. Yeah, and I think like Zial, in a way, like he does love her, but she also represents sort of his weird colonial patriarchal fantasy, you know? And, you know, so in a way, I don't know, I think he sees Kira as being, you know, I mean, I think she looks at Kira as somewhat of a mother figure.
Definitely.
You know, considering her mother died when she was pretty young. And I think Kira, you know, for whatever reason, actually assumes that role.
Listen, Zial was raised by the Breen.
Yeah, that's true.
Yikes.
Yeah, but she doesn't really do a lot to disavow Zial of the notion that she is a mother figure.
Yeah, like I feel like if anything, she started off just trying to be sort of a guardian and a friend, but especially in the aftermath of the surrogacy for the O'Briens, like she probably fell even more into the parental role.
Yeah.
And then especially after Ducat, like, said, well, see ya, fuck you and die.
I guess I'll let you die on the station.
She,
there was
whether
a funny
consciously...
line. There was a funny line about that was like, oh yeah, Ducat overreacted. I'm like, when he left Zial to go join the Dominion, I'm like, is that overreacting? He gave her every chance to leave, and it's her decision.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, I think it's just his sort of silver tongue at play.
Oh, there's that.
Like, clearly he just, like, she was angry that, you know, he left her to die, and he was, you know, and he just explained it as, you know, however, whatever he did, we don't see what he says, but...
She being Kira was angry?
No, Zial. Yeah, because Zial says, oh, he talked to me about that. And it's all,
he explained it.
Now.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
Sounds like someone who is coming to accept her abuse as being her own fault, which is sad.
Yeah, well, it's hard, because, like you said, she doesn't belong anywhere, and we do know from previous episodes that whatever Ducat himself might actually feel or do, like, familial ties are super important culturally to Cardassians. And, like, you know, she's maybe bamboozling herself a little because she wants that connection, you know, she needs it.
I wonder what the deal with, because I know Ducat has also said he's got like 7 or 9 other kids. I wonder what their deal is and if they could also like be a family for her.
Well, I think like...
Didn't the wife get them all in the divorce?
Yeah, I think when the whole thing with Zial was revealed, basically that was all taken away from him.
I'm going to Mother's and I'm taking all 3,000 of our children.
All of our lizard babies and their pet voles.
They just go spawn.
So yeah, no, I think pretty much his only family now is Zial.
She's got a Mandalorian-style Credo eggs.
A what?
Trying to keep... Huh?
A what?
Mandalorian?
Yeah. What did I say?
Mandalorian.
Oh, Mandalorian. I meant Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
Let me try again. I imagine she has like a Mandalorian-style, like, big jar of eggs that she's just carrying off.
Oh no, who's gonna eat them?
When
The
Zial
voles.
visits, she's just mowing down on them. She's like, man, these pickled eggs are great.
Oh.
No, that's what it is. They're her eggs. Morn thinks they're pickled eggs from the bar.
Oh.
There we go. That's what the baby could be in Picard season 2. A baby Morn.
Oh,
God.
okay, that's
Whatever.
that could be cute.
Whatever his species is called.
In a weird twist,
Lurians.
could the baby be super talkative?
Ha.
I mean, we know that's how Morn usually is. We just don't see it.
But yeah, a lot of weird interactions with parents, obviously. We get... What the fuck is Alexander's deal? What is he doing there?
In his age or in just in general?
we'll skip over the age thing for now. We'll get back
All
to
right,
that.
I have
But just,
notes, so.
what is his deal? Why? We never get a firm answer why the hell he did this. It seems a terrible idea.
He hates Russia.
He hates
Fair.
Russia. Yeah, so I don't know. I think maybe in a weird way, he's taken what his future self has said to heart.
Has he... Wait, did he see his future self? And know who it was?
Well, he saw him. I don't think he knew that his future self was his future self.
Oh, right. He only told Worf.
Yeah. But
that was a weird episode.
I totally forgot about this.
The whole point of that was that, future Alexander wanted little Alexander to become a warrior.
Yeah, and then he stopped.
So that he could later save Worf's life for some reason. I don't remember the whole thing, but that was like one of the last times I think we even saw Alexander on the show.
Probably.
Prior to this. I can't even remember if we saw him again after that. So it's almost like after that whole episode, Worf just sends him off to, go to Russia.
Go be a warrior on Russia.
And clearly it didn't go. I mean, it went well enough.
So does this mean, since Alexander is very clearly still not a warrior, does this mean that Kimtar, his future self thing from that kind of bad episode, is still going to have to come back and say, Worf died a new way now. We have to fix Alexander.
It's like Terminator. He just keeps going back in time.
All right, we tried another way.
Or is it Groundhog's Day, where he has to keep doing this over and over again until he gets it right?
No, it's going to be that Treehouse of Horror episode where Homer keeps going back in time and killing the dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah, we saw that one recently.
Yes, we did.
That's a good one.
It is.
It was a good one. There haven't been many bad ones, to be fair, so far.
Yeah, but old Alexander, he never went the warrior's path. So
yeah.
He was like a diplomat or something.
Well, this one's going the failures path, and it sucks.
Well, it's also just like, I think Worf puts it, he's like, listen, if you had continued to practice the shit I was teaching you when you were a kid, this would be second nature to you now. Like, basically, all those other Klingons have been training their whole lives to be warriors. And Alexander's basically like, I guess I'll join up. Fuck it.
He still manages to get first blood on that, his fellow crew member when he, challenges him to a duel.
Yeah, but that guy was clearly fucking with him.
Chatarg?
He could have split him in two in half a second if he wanted. I liked
Chatarg. Chatarg had an actual interesting arc for a very periphery character.
His name is Chatarg.
His name is Chatarg.
I like to assume then
the Targ.
That is, it's a nickname and it means like Mad Dog or something.
That's cool. Oh, there was another Klingon we met. We met a Klingon,
Mad Targ 2020.
Katog, who says he is Katog, son of Chapak. And everyone says, oh, that must be Chapak, the guy from Rules and Engagement, the lawyer guy.
Oh.
I thought he was a famous hip-hop artist.
It had not occurred to me because I forgot that was that dude's name.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, there can't be that many unique names that, what would happen? They just run out. You can't have 100,000 generations of Klingons all with unique names, and their names are 6 letters. Also, Worf's grandfather was also named Worf.
Yeah.
Was he?
Oh.
Isn't that what we found out? That
it was the Colonel Worf.
Yeah, Colonel Worf from Star Trek 6.
I was about to be like, no, they were just played by the same actor, Jake. But maybe you're right. I don't remember.
I thought they actually identified that character as Colonel Worf.
Okay. Huh. Fair enough. I did not recall that detail.
That was made early enough in TNG that it's possible they just thought Worf was his surname.
No!
Oh, that's possible, though.
But it's easy enough to explain away. He was named after his grandfather. We do that all the time.
But the family is still called Moog.
Yeah.
That's the whole house names thing, the House of Martok. Does
Duras.
The leader of the house just become the name of the house? Is that how it works? So because Worf never actually assumed his place as, the leader of the House of Moog, it just stayed House of Moog.
Well, the house is basically dissolved now,
Well, it's
right?
gone now, but I mean, when it was a thing.
Like, would he have become Moog had he taken over the house?
No, would the house have become the House of Worf?
Oh, I see.
Because Kern
Son of Moog.
represented the House of Moog on the High Council
Oh, yeah.
for a while. So
Well,
we
but
know
that's
that
kind of tough because, like, Worf couldn't take it over. Was there anything stopping Kern from becoming the...
I think the fact
House
that
of
he was
Kern?
the younger brother.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
but
don't think that
if-
he can be the leader of the house as long as Worf is still alive.
But Worf was, like, excommunicated, so shouldn't
Well,
that
yeah,
have
but
moved Kern up? Or did
The
Kern
whole
have to go
house,
kill him?
the whole house got excommunicated when he did.
Oh, right.
That's why
Yeah,
they
because
like
the
Kern's
reason
memories.
he got excommunicated was because of
Gowron.
Moog's dishonor.
Hmm.
His quote-unquote dishonor. Fucking Duras, that piece of shit.
yeah. It's very confusing. My joke when Alexander introduces himself as Alexander Rozhenko, I have no house, was I have no house because my dad left me at soccer practice and never came back.
Pretty much.
Yeah, their relationship is very interesting. I actually ended up watching a movie this week upon which this storyline was supposedly based called Rio Grande. I gotta stop watching westerns because I just don't like westerns, but god damn it.
Wasn't that the name of one of the
Yes.
runabouts, the Rio
Yes.
Grande?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, it's a famous river.
Also true. It's also a river.
What? Thanks,
It's
Jake.
a grand river. In
Hey.
Whoa.
Yeah, but it's also a movie from 1950, I believe, with John Wayne
Ugh.
Oof.
and I want to say Catherine O'Hara. And
Catherine
in
O'Hara.
No, it can't be Catherine
That won't
O'Hara.
be
That's
Catherine
the mom from
O'Hara.
Home Alone.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's Schitt's Creek lady.
Oh, because I don't remember her name. It's something else. But the story of the movie is they're doing a war thing in Texas with the Indians and all this stuff. And
Yep.
they send reinforcements, and one of the reinforcements is John Wayne's stupid failure of a son. And they try to reconnect a whole bunch, but they don't like it. So the mom shows up and says, I want to pay to get him taken out of the army, please. But before that can happen, a whole bunch of stuff happens, and a wagon full of children get kidnapped by Apaches and dragged to Mexico. So they have to go save the children, and the kid kind of makes up for all the failing he's done by actually like saving all the kids. Unlike Alexander, who doesn't seem to like do anything right.
Well, no, because he did. I mean, in the end, he did help save the ship. Him and Chitarg.
I'm going to give all the credit to Chitarg.
But they totally minimize it by being like, oh, that fucking idiot locked himself in the
Yeah.
closet. But with an asterisk that says maybe because he was hoping it would be a suicide thing.
That was what I
Question
kind of
mark?
thought was happening.
I didn't think that. I think it legit. It was
just an accident?
He's a bumbling idiot.
Oh, man. The thing
Well,
is, Worf
then
looks
it
at
was
him...
a really stupid move at that crucial moment to do it.
Yeah, and the thing is,
because-
after that, Worf also looks at him with this sense of pride that Worf, I don't think, would give him if he'd like locked himself in the room by accident. For a second, I was like, he's locking himself in there so that he can fix the thing without anyone else being, I don't know, exposed to radiation or something.
Because
trying to pull a
Chitarg
Spock.
straight up says they had already fixed the problem.
Yeah, he went back to
And
get his tools.
He went to put the tools away in the closet, and then he tripped the security device that sealed them in.
Well, that's
Well,
idiotic.
honestly, the way Chitarg said it, it almost sounded to me like Chitarg did it on purpose to him. Like he was just playing a prank on him. Like, I sent him to get my tools, and the door locked. Oh, we're trying to get it open.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I
It
think
felt pranky to me.
I just think that the idea. I agree that the scene played out weird, but I think the idea that they were going for was that Alexander, despite still being a goof and fairly incompetent, has at least like earned the friendship of some respect from the other crew.
From Chitarg,
Yeah.
but
like
not Worf.
Chitarg, who had nothing but disdain for him and just treated him like shit, now is sort of like, okay, he's a goof. He got locked in the closet like an idiot, but at the same time, he helped me save the ship.
Yeah, I mean, he volunteered.
But I think that was established. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Go ahead.
But yeah, he like volunteered to deal with a plasma leak, which, as we know, those are bad. The plasma dissolves organic matter like that. So, like, he's not a good warrior, but he's also not a coward, you know?
That's true.
Yeah, okay, go on.
Nerd
Gotta hear
correction.
this.
It's not the plasma that dissolves organic matter on contact. That's plasma coolant. That's the coolant tanks.
Okay, you're right.
The plasma is just fire, but it's highly radioactive fire.
Yeah, so it's still dangerous.
Yeah, it's still very dangerous, but it doesn't dissolve matter.
No, but
it'll just make you real fucking sick.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you touched it wrong, it'll kill you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, that was the whole thing.
If you touched it with your face, you would probably die.
Well, I think the other thing, too, is not only is it really dangerous, but it would, if left unchecked, it would have destroyed the ship.
Yes, yeah, it would have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there is that. Like, he's not necessarily cowardly. He's just not a warrior.
Well, again, he does try to fight Shattarg in spite of the fact that he knows he hasn't been training his whole life, you know? And, I don't know, that takes balls.
He's got fighting on nothing but adrenaline at that point.
Yeah, hasn't even had his lung.
And also the fact that... I
don't think he expected Shattarg to take out a knife.
Oh, no.
Like when Shattarg takes out the knife, you can see like a moment of like, oh, fuck, what did I do? Like he thought he was just going to get into a fist fight.
Yeah.
And, he'd probably lose, but it's like when they say the first day of prison, you got to get into a fight to prove that you're not a bitch.
Yeah.
That's also what happened in Rio Grande. The kid got in a fight with some guy, and his dad looked on like, yeah. Get him.
I feel like a lot of the time, Ames, you're watching John Wayne pictures. It might just be you don't like John Wayne pictures.
I think it's mostly westerns.
I don't know. All westerns?
Have you seen any like the spaghetti westerns with?
Yeah, because those are fun.
Those are really good.
Oh, well, that's true.
They're very much their own thing.
Yeah.
But that's why I asked, though, because it's like John Wayne is like a very specific subset of
but I think
shitty westerns that are like the same every time.
I was saying, American westerns in general, I think. I mean, there's some newer ones that are a little different, but...
Well, you say newer ones. Like, I think I've mentioned, like, because I read slowly. I'm reading the DeForest Kelley book right now. And he
was
played...
in a shitload of westerns.
Yeah, he did a ton of westerns because, at the time, in the 50s into early 60s, westerns were like the thing because you get out of war and you're like, America, gotta do something super American. Gotta do some westerns because they're kind
Indians.
Of... Canadians?
Indians.
He said kill Indians.
Oh, yes.
Because that's really what those movies are, right?
Yeah.
True.
The American civilized hero.
Justifying why we slaughtered them.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is... It's interesting because, all that comes out of the post-World War II, we gotta feel good about having just gotten out of a war. What's like that? Westerns. But each one makes me also...
like killing?
Each one also makes me very uncomfortable because all of a sudden John Wayne will whip out some like Confederate money and I'll be like, ugh! No! Stop it!
Yeah, there's like, the thing with the foreign westerns is they're able to make them while being divorced from the mythology.
Yeah.
Whereas like here, you're consciously using the tropes or you're very consciously acting against them. Whereas usually for the spaghetti westerns, it's like, this is a backdrop.
Yeah.
This is a time and a place. The mythological elements are less ingrained, so we're not going to treat it with the same sort of bizarre reverence.
Well, yeah, like John Wayne was always the hero. I mean, there might be a couple things where he's a villain, but...
The one where he was going to kill his niece, he was a villain.
But, like...
I think I saw him play a villain in a non-Western film.
I mean, I'm sure he's played villains, but I guess the thing is, like, compared to some of the Clint Eastwood films where he's not a villain necessarily. I mean, he's still the hero, but he's a flawed hero.
Yeah.
Is he an anti-hero?
Sometimes.
He's an uncle hero.
But he's certainly
get it,
not
girl.
without flaws, and I think that's... Like, John Wayne's, like a paragon of American values.
Yeah.
Whereas, Clint Eastwood is, kind of a piece of shit.
Sort of a mercenary.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were talking
real
about...
life.
But again, honestly, half of those spaghetti westerns are all the same, too. So.
Aw. But yeah, we were talking about the brawl.
Yeah.
The brawl with Alexander. And I think the other thing added with Alexander is the other reason that they're provoking him into this fight is they're saying, A, you're only here because your daddy's here, and B, would you like some root beer and ice cream with that? To which I say, yes, please.
Same.
Give this boy a root beer.
I was like, yeah, because it fucking rocks. And then Chris was like, humans have prune juice, actually. And I was like, yeah, it's a warrior's drink.
That's what he should have done. He should have been like, look, guys. I know you think Earth drinks are shit, but try this purple stuff. It's
yeah, but Alexander doesn't know that, does he?
I was going to say, surely his father would have told him, but...
Maybe the one time Worf sent a postcard, he was like, tried prune juice, fucking loved it, warrior's drink.
Plus his parents were, well, not his parents, his guardians were two old Russian people. Like, all they had was prune juice.
All they had was vodka and...
beets.
And beet juice.
Ooh.
Oof, vodka.
Yeah, I don't know, but
juice.
I do kind of like how that, I guess the real world reason is that root beer is not a brand.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
You wouldn't be like, oh, all humans love Coke or Sprite or
sweet tea,
whatever. But like root beer is, not a brand name, so they can throw it out there. But
fruit punch.
I do like that root beer is sort of like the stereotype that everybody else in the galaxy has about humans.
Yeah.
It's like, they love root beer. Fucking sugar water. Fucking pussies. Jesus.
Well, it's sort of like how lots of other countries view Americans as being like cowboys who like wave American flags. And that's just kind of what they think of when they think generic American.
And love John Wayne movies.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, there's probably many, many, many humans, from other, non-American cultures that don't give a shit about root beer. Even in Earth today, I'm pretty sure root beer is mostly an American drink. I don't think you'd get that a lot of other places necessarily.
That's too bad, because that shit rocks.
Yeah, root beer is great.
What about root beer barrels? Can they get root beer barrels elsewhere?
Maybe. Those are delicious. I still got a bag of them.
Oh, shit. Send me some so I can suck on them when we're getting warmed up. Piss
monster.
Chris off.
Yeah, for old time's sake. I like to imagine, though, that there are, just like there are... Klingon restaurants on the promenade and shit like that. I like to imagine that there are human restaurants on all of these other planets.
Oh,
like if you go to Quonos, there's
get a burger and fries.
Yeah, but it's all just like a mix and match of different cultural tropes from
fusion
all over Earth.
Asian fusion.
They do cheeseburgers. They do General Tso's chicken. They've probably got tikka masala and a peanut butter sandwich
drink is
or
root
something.
Beer. Yeah, root beer floats.
Yeah. So even though root beer would be great connecting tissue to go on to the next episode, I have one more note I wanted to bring up from Sons and Daughters.
Uh-huh.
And that's that. So we induct Alexander into the House of Martok, even though that's a terrible idea. But they cut a bit of that scene when it was aired on British television, because in the scene you have all three characters. You have Martok, Worf, and Alexander doing the palm swipe and bleed into a thing. And in the British version, they cut when Martok and Worf do it and only have Alexander do it, because they didn't want people to think, like, I should be using the same blade to cut my hand, because they were all afraid of AIDS.
Yeah, I was wondering.
I was going to say, that sounds like an AIDS fear.
Yep.
Britain has the most bizarre censorship.
I mean, it seems like it's as much of that as a product of its time, too.
But even then, like, when you read about you couldn't use the word ninja for the longest time in Britain.
Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Yeah, it's very strange. They have these random little things that irk their limey asses, and then they vote for Brexit and ruin their own fishing industry.
Hooray!
Also, I decided to looked up the root beer. Commercial root beer is now produced in Canada and every U.S. state.
Good.
Every state makes root beer. But, although the beverage is popular as greatest in North America, brands are produced in other countries including Australia, the UK, Malaysia, Argentina, Germany, the Philippines, Singapore, Taiwan, South Korea, Indonesia, Sweden, Vietnam, and Thailand.
So basically, that's pretty much a list of places where the U.S. military has had a large presence.
Yep. But when you think about it, that just means that the idea that it will spread globally by the 24th century isn't too unbelievable.
That's actually true.
Although I do wonder, though, because, like, sugary beverages in general, I feel, are kind of on the decline as, like, people are more concerned about health.
Yeah, everyone is drinking coconut water.
Ugh.
Putting avocados in everything.
I despise coconut water. I tried it once. Tastes
It's
like
good
old socks
as
smell.
an ingredient in something else.
I have heard that.
Coconut flavor. I don't know that I've ever had coconut water.
It
It's
is
just
disgusting.
like water with it's like tinged with the essence of coconut.
No, it's the water that comes out of the coconut.
Yeah,
I thought
so
that
not
was
coconut
I thought
milk.
it was coconut milk.
No, there's milk and there's water.
Oh.
Yeah. But no,
And
I tried
What
tried
about the
coconut
lime in
water.
the coconut.
I tried coconut water once when it was kind of new.
It's
Or at least
chunky as well,
first-
isn't it, usually?
The one I had must have been filtered. But again, it was unflavored. It was just straight. And
Ooh,
again, it
that's
legitimately, it tasted like a sweaty sock smells. It was wretched. But you know what isn't wretched?
Root beer.
Root beer.
Yay!
Which
Beer is
Quark
delicious. I haven't had
really
root beer in a
wishes he
long
could
time.
sell again.
You know
Tell
what?
us. Unless
So
unless Jake had another thing. Did you have another thing?
You can go.
Okay,
we
good.
Can move on.
Sorry about that.
So in Behind the Lines, there's first a little B plot. They've got to send the Defiant off on a mission. Ben doesn't get to go because he's Admiral Ross's new adjunct, and he's nervous. Mission goes fine, and apparently we've destroyed some sort of major Dominion scanning post, which seems really a lot more important than they gave it time for.
I still blame changelings.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the main plot,
Oh, yeah.
Rom has stolen a pad from Damar,
Nice.
where Damar had written a report being like, we're running out of white. We can't get more because of the minefield. If it comes to it, we should poison the last batch of white to kill the Jem'Hadar because we know what happens if they run out.
Fascinating.
And Rom steals this pad and leaves it right outside, like, Jem'Hadar barracks or something. The Jem'Hadar find it, storm into the bar, scream, we're the only gray people that get to be here. The Cardassians go, fuck you, we were here first. Big old brawl breaks out.
We're grayer than you, damn it.
Yeah.
And Wayoon is too busy drooling on himself because he has a second founder on board to...
Well, that hasn't happened yet. She
But
hasn't shown
Wayoon
up
is
yet.
still off drooling on himself.
Yeah, true. Like, he shows up in a great scene in the aftermath where him and Ducat are like, just keep smiling. Well, he's like, just keep
loved it.
smiling. We have to pretend we're friends.
I love
Sounds
it.
like I am smiling.
Yeah.
This is what I look
am.
like when I'm smiling.
It still looks like a sneer.
So then we find out this whole scheme was discussed with the Resistance, such as it is. The Resistance being Kira, Rom, Odo, and Jake, who I forgot to mention last episode, asked to join. And they're like, fuck off, kid. But apparently they said, oh, fine.
Just don't
And-
tell your
Keeps
dad.
showing up, that's all. That's why.
So Odo had said this sounds like a bad idea. It could, the repercussions might not be worth it. And he left. And then the other three were like, so the plan? And they were like, yeah. So they kind of argue over that a little. And then fucking lady changeling asshole shows up, being all like, oh yeah, I'm stuck in the Alpha Quadrant because I was on this side when Ben set up his minefield. How you doing, Odo? And Odo's like, I'm mad at you because you made me a people. And now I'm supposed to just be like, okay with that? And she's like, come on, let's changeling fuck. He's like, okay.
No.
And then they do, and he's like, oh man, being in the link, even with just one other person, is so cool.
Oh no.
Meanwhile, Damar, of all people, has worked out a plan to possibly shut down the minefield using the deflector array. And he goes, he's all cocky, he's at Quark's bar, like, I've got a gull's salary now. And Quark's like, oh, really? And he gets him shit-faced.
Get that man a root beer.
And gets himself shit-faced.
Yeah, gets himself shit-faced so he can get some intel, which he spills the beans. He admits he doesn't like this new occupation. He doesn't like Cardassians. The Jem'Hadar are creepy. He wants to sell root beer again.
Ditto.
That's Quark, not Damar.
Yeah.
That's also Damar.
Just wait till you try root beer, especially with a hard root beer.
Ooh.
Yeah, that shit's good.
Just tastes like
It
root
tastes
beer.
like root beer.
Yeah, no. So they devise this plan. All right, they'll have Rom go into a Jeffries tube and deactivate the deflector array
With some fruit.
with some fruit.
in case he gets hungry.
Yeah, which he did. That's what we got Nashi.
Well, you know what? It was nerves.
Yeah.
It was nerve eating, I think.
You know, the deal is that Odo is going to have to run a security diagnostic to shut down the sensors first. And he's like, no problem. In the meanwhile, Kira's like, don't trust Changeling lady. She has done nothing but lie to and manipulate you every time you've seen her.
True.
Did you link with her? Yeah. She's like, well, don't do it again. And he's like, okay. And then Changeling Lady shows up again later, and they're talking, and he wants to know more about his culture, which is understandable. And she's all like, oh my god, we're just so inefficient. Let's link. And he's like, I don't wanna. She's like, come on.
Kira
He's like,
told me not to.
I promised Kira I wouldn't. And he's like, what does she know? She's a solid. And then they have weird goo sex again.
No.
Which I really hate.
And Odo stops caring about anything because he's high on sex.
Wow.
The thing doesn't get turned off in time. And Rom's in prison, and Kira is fucking livid.
Yeah.
And he's all like, oh, no, you don't get it, though. I'm like, nothing matters. He's like a fucking philosophy college student who had his first really good joint. And he's like, oh. And she's like, I don't believe you. And she storms out, and it turns out Lady Changeling was there the whole time. And she's like, did she make you upset? He's like, no, I'm fine. He's getting all weird and like Changeling-y.
Gross.
And that's kind of where we leave
Oh,
off.
I fucking hate it. She's all like, don't you understand what this means? And he's like, I don't give a fuck. Not
Nothing
my problem.
matters. I'm the
Only
goo
the link
man.
matters.
You wouldn't
Goo.
understand because you can't join.
Kira walks in. She's like, why does it smell like Play-Doh in here?
No.
I was half expecting to be like, if you could only join, and he just like starts trying to goo into her face, but
No.
it's just like,
Oh, I'm
She's
sure
just like,
he'll
what are
go
you-
into
what are
her
you
face
doing?
later. Don't worry.
stop that.
Oh.
Yeah, I said it.
Smells weird. So does Changeling Lady now know about the resistance?
Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
probably find out
Okay,
next
like
week.
here's the thing. Of course she does, because that's exactly why she's doing this. Kira's like, maybe you shouldn't. You don't know a lot about the link. And he's like, no, it's all about feelings. It's like, yeah, but on the other hand, they implanted like false bullshit into your brain that time
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
about Gowron.
Yeah, this
Like,
is how they
no.
exchange information.
and also, they're way fucking better than this than you. Remember last week when Alexander couldn't use a batleth? If he had been doing it his whole life, he'd be better at it? Yeah, that's you now, Odo. You don't fucking link for shit. You don't know where the clitoris is. Sorry, the goo clitoris. What? And like, the gooch. And,
Okay. All right.
and,
Got it.
so
You
my
got
point
there.
is,
Caitlin found it.
Yeah.
fisting. I found the gooch, and the point. I'm just saying, like, he's being a fucking idiot. Like, of course, they know everything.
You know, he's so stupid. I mean,
He's so fucking stupid.
I get the temptation.
Dude, yeah, for sure.
Like,
It's
he's-
totally awesome to get off with, like, I don't know, what is she, his mom? I don't even
Oh.
actually
No.
know. That's the other thing. I know she's not, but I've kind of thought of her as being, like, his mom this whole time. So I know it's not really there.
No, he's hot for teacher.
But there is a little bit of, like, incestiness happening, again, in my head canon, and I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's hard.
So-
It's very, very hard to wrap your brain around what the fuck the changelings are. Because she says something that's very interesting and says, like, outside the link, like, the drop of water becomes the ocean becomes the drop of water. They kind of all are the same identity.
They're kind of I say they're like a gooey Borg.
Yeah.
This is masturbation, then.
So,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think that when they're in the link, they are just like one single consciousness.
wild. It's so
But-
wild.
But like when they split off, the question is like, and I think this was what Odo was trying to get to the point of is like,
Are
you
they
know,
individuals?
yeah, like is this lady changeling the same as the other lady changeling that we've seen before?
I wondered the same thing.
Or is it just
Actually,
like-
what he was wondering was, so am I jerking myself off here, or
Where's the
what's
gooch?
going on?
Well, the other
Yeah,
thing too
where
is
is the
like,
gooch?
so they link up and they become essentially one
Mass.
entity. And then they split off from each other. Is that still Odo, or is it like some Odo and some her?
Ooh, interesting.
Like,
Okay,
how
but-
much how much exchanging of fluids actually happens.
Ugh.
Oh, you're making it so gross.
More importantly, though, who makes whom a sandwich?
They can both turn into a sandwich. Poof, you're a sandwich.
True. Hooray.
Yeah, I think their concepts of individuality will never entirely jive with ours, so trying to define it
Yeah.
really isn't going to work.
Even the writers aren't going to really do it because I think we're so ingrained to thinking of people as individuals. Like, the Borg we can understand because we can physically see that they are reading each other's minds, that they're a hive mind. These things, you don't know where one ends and the other begins, and it's too much of a head fuck. But there's no way to portray that on screen.
And the Borg never, like, turn into one giant Borg.
That'd be a good episode.
Thank God. But on the other hand, they kind of do.
Well, but I mean,
because they all kind of link up into the.
Well, they do.
I know they like attach.
You can still
themselves.
see like that's Fred, that's
ones.
Jim, that's
know.
Ted.
I know. I was
They're just all plugged into the same.
Dick.
But I also think that, in a sense, like the Borg ship, the cube, or whatever ship they're on, is just an extension of their.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's what I was.
So
that's what I was thinking.
When a Borg cube is both a ship with a lot of Borgs on it, and it's also a Borg itself.
Yeah, but I think it's a little easier for us to understand because, like, we've seen people separated from the collective and regain themselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think there's a version of individuality and collective thought there that we can wrap our heads around, and I don't think the Changelings have that.
No. You couldn't
in the
get
same
Hugh,
way.
You couldn't get Hugh from the Changelings unless you take it away at birth, I guess.
Like Odo.
That's what
Like
happened
Odo.
with Odo.
Oh, yeah,
And that's what's-
Odo is the Hugh of the Changelings,
Right.
and
That.
the female Changeling is the Locutus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that thing, so you can kind of, like, again, like, he fucked up big in this one, and there's going to be a lot of bad repercussions from his stupidity.
Bad man.
But you can get why he gave in, because clearly, like, based on her explanation, they're not meant to be individuals all the time. And for all that, he spent most of his life as an individual.
It's probably
Which-
exhausting.
Yeah, which he didn't even realize, like, maybe half the reason half the reason he's not as good at shapeshifting is because, not just he doesn't have the same amount of practice, but because
He hasn't
There's-
linked. He hasn't been doing the Lincoln.
yeah, and he spent
Lincoln.
too much time separated,
Mm.
Like, clearly they're supposed to, they're almost like, I don't know, for lack of a better term, amphibious, where, like, they're supposed to spend some time in the water, some time on land, but he spent 99% of his life on land, and that has fucked him up, which is why you can see how easily he would get link high.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though.
Oh yeah, no, he's still,
The-
like, bad man for this. He fucked this up.
The animals that spent the time on land eventually built fucking massive cities. And the animals that spent all the time in the water are still in the water.
Built
They're
secret
doing
cities
They're doing fuck all.
We've never seen before.
That's
Dolphin
true.
cities.
That's possible. So, I mean, obviously, I think the thing is, Odo has a much better perspective on pretty much everything.
It's not, I wouldn't say better, but I would say contains different perspective. Contains more
Thing is,
perspectives.
he has something that none of the others in the Link have, or at least he had up until this episode, I should say, until he joined the Link a bit.
a crush on Kira.
He had fucking compassion for
Yeah.
other people, whereas the fucking changelings that live in the Link, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, you're right. I do think that the changeling knows about the resistance, but she doesn't give a fuck because it really doesn't affect her.
Yeah, if you need another, if you kill a Vorta, we'll clone a new one. If you kill a Jem'Hadar, we'll grow a new one. Fuck it, doesn't matter to
You know,
them.
I don't care if the minefield
true.
goes up or stays down. Who the fuck cares? I'm a goddamn changeling.
I mean, I think she cares if it goes down, because she does want to get back to the home world.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like resistance, schmesistance, Fuck
Yeah, I mean, if anything, she timed things the way she did, maybe to sort of well, no, I didn't know about that specific plan, but, still, like, I think the one thing she cares about is getting the minefield down.
Probably.
I
One thing
think
that
if she
they're-
felt,
Well, because she wants to get back home.
Yeah.
She doesn't
Yeah.
want to be split either.
I
And in
think-
that way, she needs him just as much as he needs her. If she's
Yeah.
needing that link,
yeah, and she's she's not used to being separated from it like he is, so she probably is really jonesing.
Here's my question about that, though. Because one thing that so far, that for the past long time, we've been entirely neglecting is the changelings are everywhere thing that has been established multiple times in this show. Like, my first question was, how do we know that she is the only one on this ship? There's no way to know.
None at all.
One of those pieces of fruit Rom had could have been a fucking changeling.
Oh god, it's 28.
Oh no, Rom! But yeah, I think if there's only one changeling on Terok Nor, the changelings are doing it wrong.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that there needs to be many on Terok Nor, but what I do think is that there probably are a lot of them.
Is it Admiral Ross?
All
it's
over the
Admiral
Federation.
Ross.
Oh no.
Well, probably not Admiral Ross, but the fact that they're like,
Definitely.
We've been trying to figure out how the Dominion has been a step ahead of us all this time. We think it's because they got this cool telescope, and I'm just like, no,
Changelings,
it's because they're literally everywhere.
Have you seen all these extra Eddingtons? Are we sure he's dead? It's always Eddington.
The land of 1,000 Eddingtons.
Yeah. I don't know. There's an interesting thing that I've always liked about this episode.
Really?
Because the B plot. That was
so good.
I don't even know what that was.
No, because I have some backstory on the B story.
So like the B story, obviously
backstory.
it's very B story because we pretty much only get, the scene at the beginning and the scene at the end and like a couple little tidbits in the middle.
Yeah,
but the
Sisko
idea
having
that,
a sad.
Yeah.
Missing
but,
his ball.
We see this thing where like they have this ceremony when they use up a phaser coil or phaser power cell. They have this ceremony where they put it on display so that it can fly around the ship if they get hit and give somebody a concussion.
I said that. They really should be securing those.
Yeah,
we don't know.
They're just sitting on a shelf.
How do they work?
Yeah.
No one knows.
And then, at the end, we see that they're still doing the ceremony.
But Dax is one heading
But Dax is hosting it instead of Sisko. And that's what I liked. I like that whole sort of idea that, the ship goes on, but Sisko is no longer like part of it.
Mm.
I like that we never got to see it too.
Him.
I like that we saw none of the mission because we only get to see Sisko being home, having a lonely with him and Ross being like, well, what do we do now? I'll play some tiddlywinks? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean it's Sisko's perspective, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of what we're getting. But what's funny to me though about that whole plot is Sisko is so upset that he doesn't get to fly around in a ship, and I'm like, dude, did you watch the first 3 seasons of this show where like you barely left the station?
Well, yeah, but then he got his sweet hot rod out of Hawk, and
yeah. Plus, we're at war right now. Like everyone's tense.
Yeah.
We do the celebration thing with the big blender looking shape thing, because we have to like keep morale up. We have to be doing something that makes it feel like we're making any progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's key, though. Is like he wants to feel like he's actively involved in the war, and he's not going to feel that way behind a desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Kirk, or like Picard, or like any of the other ones that we've seen do this.
I also think that once he got a taste of being in command of a ship,
Yeah.
Like he was fine to be a desk jockey after Wolf 359 because he was kind of put off by the whole space travel thing and being on a ship, and he was traumatized. And then he got back into the seat and was like, well, fuck that.
And I'm
going to be a spaceman now.
Damn good seat. It's a nice big chair with some big panels next to it.
Root beers all around. Got a cup holder for it.
And ice cream.
None of that.
Ice cream.
None of that people flanking me bullshit like in TNG. I want a big, fuck you, I'm the captain, big center chair like Kirk.
And a crown and a root beer.
Mm.
No, the reason
The
I
hotline to Gul Dukat.
Yeah, the reason I kind of like look at this episode and a little like find it strange that you can like the B plot because it is so very simple is because poor Renee, and I think it's pronounced Echevarria, I'm not actually 1000% sure, the writer who wrote this one in the 6-episode arc, this is the one he was tasked with, and he had the most trouble figuring out something to do in the B plot. And, all 6 writers were working on all of this together, and he was like basically going to them every day saying, okay, what are you guys doing so it can help me figure out what I'm doing? Because I have no fucking idea. I guess originally he had a story about the turmoil of sending untrained troops into the field, but that kind of ended up being too important, and they wanted the A-plot to be on Terrak Nor.
Yeah, that feels like that should be its own A-plot.
Yeah, and then they decided, okay, well, we're going to have Dax do something, and he said, okay, well, how about if Dax goes into combat and discovers that she really, really fucking loves killing, and she takes it too far, and kind of just wants to be at war all the time, and we have to tell her to scale it back. And they say, no, we don't like that either. Then what do? I don't know, something really simple. And he scaled it back so much, and he was just having so much trouble the whole time that this is just what he finished.
Also, didn't they already do a Dax Takes It Too Far episode once?
With what?
Did they?
I don't really. I feel like she went off and did a thing that she felt she had to do.
I mean, it was Blood Oath.
Yeah, but that one she
didn't take anything too far there. She did exactly what she wanted to do.
Yeah, and I swear there was an episode where she went off and did something that, Ben didn't approve of. He just kind of gave her a disappointed look at the end, and her and Kira had discussed it, and Kira was like...
That was definitely Blood Oath.
Really?
Yeah, Blood Oath, she asks Kira, what's it like to kill somebody? And Kira's like, Jesus Christ, Dax! It's not fun! You hate yourself afterwards, but, sometimes you gotta do it, but Jesus, I don't want to talk about this with you. That was Blood Oath.
I don't remember that aspect of Blood Oath, but I believe you.
It was yeah.
No, yeah, I believe you. But we all know my memory for this is not good.
Yeah, again, just what I mentioned earlier about Damar. I just like when he's around.
Nice.
Because he is just such a piece of shit, and he's so contemptible. The beginning, when he just a little teaser scene where Rom and Kira are watching him in the bar before the fight breaks out.
That was fun.
And you can just tell, you don't have to actually see him. You can just see him interacting with Quark to know
doing the physicality.
He's being a scumbag.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, the scene later with Quark is great. And then, there's even the bit where he's, because after the fight, he's in the doghouse, not necessarily because he got into a fight, but because he let the plan to poison the Jem'Hadar out.
Yeah, that's a dastardly plan. But it just feels very right
it feels
them.
Practical.
Yeah.
Honestly, what else would you do in that scenario?
It's dark, but you're like, oh no, that makes entire sense why you would jump to that plan.
Absolutely.
But, there's so he's in the doghouse, which means apparently he's been demoted to Odo duty, sitting in Odo's office while Odo's off getting his goo wet.
Ugh.
Oh, no.
And, he's got this scene, just every interaction he has with Kira is just dripping with
Goo?
mutual hatred.
Bajorans, which is why the sneering comes up from the scene we read.
Yeah.
What's nice about their contemptuous interactions is that they're not laced with horniness from him.
Oh, yeah, no. There's no hate fuck there.
Every interaction with Dukat, you're just kind of you can feel the slime. This is just hate, and it's this is good, this is comfortable. I'm not cringing every 5 seconds because I know he doesn't want to put his dick in her.
Yeah, well, the other thing, too, is it's easier for Kira. I think the problem with Kira has is Dukat, despite being the scumbag that he is pretty charming.
Mm-hmm.
He can turn on the charm, and Kira, who by all accounts should absolutely hate him.
And does, but when he's putting on that charm, she can't help herself but be a little taken in by it until she catches herself and is no, he's a scumbag. Fuck that guy. Whereas Damar is not charming. He's just an asshole. And Kira has no problem just straight up despising this man. He's fun. I'm looking very forward to seeing more of him.
But yeah, even as an audience member, you can be taken in by Ducat's charm, I think.
Damar is gonna torture the fuck out of Rom now, right?
Probably.
Yeah, I'm worried about
Rom's
him.
fucked.
Like, how quickly is Rom gonna spill the beans? Oh, he already has. Damn it, Rom!
I mean,
You're bad spy.
it was actually fruit in the basket that he spilled.
Nice. Thank you.
But man,
He's not wrong, you know.
See, I know you don't like Rom, but like, there's like moments that are so endearing about him, where like when he shows up with the fruit basket.
Oh yeah, that was very cute.
And he's like, oh, when the Cardassians walk him, he's like, oh, here's your fruit.
And Kira's a much better liar than he is.
Yeah, good at improv.
He can't act. He's just like, he comes up with this clever ruse, and then he like immediately exposes it. And if Kira weren't there, he definitely, like, the Cardassians definitely were like, let me look at that fruit.
Yeah.
Well, he had also come up with the plan for the whole minefield.
He did.
And then they realized later, oh, this is very easily taken down if you do this extra work, which Damar or someone under Damar figured out.
I was saying, they say easily, but it took them a long time to figure it out.
Yeah, but it's something that they say, Rom, you should have thought of this. Why didn't you think of this before?
Well,
but in the episode, when we saw him come up with the idea, he was very, very clearly thinking about Lita's tits.
That's true. That was the scene where he was like fretting about the wedding.
But that's the thing is, like, he came up with it on the fly. The Chief and Dax were there.
Yeah, they should have also.
Especially, like, they're from Starfleet. And nobody does crazy shit with deflector arrays more than Starfleet.
Well, O'Brien and Dax were also thinking about Lita's tits then.
Like, the fact that another alien race thought, hey, what if we use the deflector array in a strange way, was crazy to me, because it's like the rest of the galaxy just treats deflector arrays as deflector arrays. It's Starfleet that's like, this is our deflector array. What's it do? It's kind of a Swiss Army knife.
You could just shoot random shit out of it.
Yeah, you can reroute power through it.
A beam of some kind.
Yeah, lots of beams. So many beams.
This is an anti-graviton beam.
Yeah. We're gonna reroute it through the nacelles so it shoots a Bassard beam. We're not even sure how that works, but it does.
I'm gonna shoot Finney at it. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it seems like where we're left in this episode,
Rom is a dead man.
Huge cliffhanger, right?
Yeah,
so
Rom's in prison.
Rom's in prison.
Odo is bad.
Odo's a bad guy.
Oh yeah, Odo's high on sex.
Yep.
And essentially the Dominion is about to win, right? They know how to take down the minefield, and there's really nothing to stop them now.
No. Nope.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, I forget most of the rest of the series, to be honest. So I'm trying very much not to spoil myself on what's going to come, next week or further down the line. So I have a slightly less research than usual on these episodes because the stupid way that the book that I get most of my research from is set up is it usually does synopsis and then some backstory and then all the facts and backstory and then the next episode and the next episode, and goes on like that. But because this is a 6-parter, it tells you the synopsis of the 6-parter and then tells you all the backstory of all of them.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil myself, so I haven't read it yet.
So you're saying is next week we're going to get all the background.
You're going to get a lot
will be episodes
next week.
5 and 6.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah. I have one thing I do know about this week, and that was that the story used to involve, instead of Odo just kind of getting distracted by being in the link and therefore not doing his security thing, was him actively trying to end the resistant movement.
Wow.
And they decided, let's not make him that kind of bad. Let's make him the kind of passive kind of bad, where he just doesn't do anything.
Although, there's the scene before we see the female changeling show up, where he's talking to Kira, and he's like, "You didn't tell me about this, I thought we said that we didn't like the plan about starting the fight in the bar with Damar." And Kira's like, yeah, but you stormed out of the meeting, and the rest of us thought it was a good idea.
Well, then he asks her if she's questioning his loyalty, and she kind of falters.
Yeah. Which is like, Yeah.
Because he's too cautious, you know? Like, he's like, yeah, this could just be an excuse to chuck every Bajoran off the station. It's like, I mean, yeah, but
I mean, that's
welcome to
that's
a
good
resistance.
point.
It's called risks.
Yeah.
But there are risks that you can see Odo understanding, like, this is a risk worth taking, versus risks that are just like, this is a bad one. Don't do this one. This one's a bad plan, guys.
Well, it's also, though, that, like, that particular plan is, it's a chaos monkey. It's let's just
So distrust.
Yeah, let's sow distrust. Let's have a big brawl. It's not like an organized attack. You know, like taking out the deflector is like an attack. That's like a something that we're doing with a specific goal in mind. Whereas the other thing is just like, no, let's just get the Cardassians and the Jem'Hadar fighting, because that'll be fun.
Yeah, but if anyone figured out, oh, it's because Rom stole the pad, then they would get in trouble.
Oh, yeah. But I also think that, not just that, though, that Odo being, a changeling and being, someone who's obsessed with law and order, the idea that you would conduct a resistance by just sowing discord and chaos doesn't sit right with him.
Yeah, that's true.
But that, even though that's a really good scheme. It's like, yeah, all right, yeah, the initial fight might be over, but the fact that plan ever existed, that's going to linger. That's going to make its way through the ranks. People are going to hear about it. Like,
yeah, but I also think that by and large, the Jem'Hadar aren't going to do anything about it, because we've seen this last week how even when they knew that their Vorta was sending them to die, they still followed their orders.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
the
they had no
Jem'Hadar and the
choice.
Cardassians are going to hate each other no matter what.
Yeah.
But they're also,
so.
but there's not much they can do about it while we're at war with the Federation.
And what's interesting is, so obviously Damar got, a slap on the wrist, and I'm sure the other Cardassians that were there got a stern talking to.
Or killed.
But all of the Jem'Hadar are dead. All of the Jem'Hadar that participated in the fight are dead now. Because that's just not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're also running out of white.
Yeah.
So maybe that's, a couple fewer Jem'Hadar means more white for everybody else.
Yay!
Hooray!
But yeah, except that if they have to poison it,
Hooray.
that means they have to get everybody at once, right?
Well, now it will last
I wondered
longer, so
about
that you don't have
that.
to poison so fast.
Oh, right. Yeah, because there are some... Yes, I understand now. Sorry.
Poor Jem'Hadar. If they really want some more Ketracel white, I know where there's a whole bunch of barrels of it at the bottom of a lake.
Yep. Get your fishing rods handy.
God, who's going to discover that in a couple 100 years, and how terrible is that going to be for everyone involved?
Actually, I'm wondering, so at the beginning of Sons and Daughters, we see that they're just arriving back to the starbase, I guess, after having been rescued by the Rotaran.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if they didn't recover. So the Rotaran evidently went and picked them up from the planet in the nebula.
Is Kevon with them?
Yeah, so presumably Kevon must also be there.
Yeah.
Not seen. And I'm also assuming that probably they would have recovered as much as they could off of the crashed ship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
what's
wonder if
tricky?
They actually have some Ketracel white.
What's tricky about this episode and the episode where we met Kevon, which the title of which I've already forgotten.
The ship.
Rocks
part
and
two.
Shoals. With Sons and Daughters and Rocks and Shoals, is that they were filmed in flip-flop order
No.
because they
that's
had
weird.
because they had to do Rocks and Shoals on location.
Right.
So they realized, okay, let's do that one later so that we can get to this location during, this block of time or whatever the fuck they needed to do. Which means, since they were working on Sons and Daughters first, and they kept having to, change things in the show, whenever they changed something in Sons and Daughters, they had to go back and make sure they changed it in Rocks and Shoals as well.
Oh,
So,
no.
fucking nightmare.
Sounds pretty
Sounds
bad.
like it. Jeez.
Like, why? What kind of thing? Because there wasn't... The thing is, Worf wasn't in Rocks and Shoals, and the rest of the crew was barely in Sons and Daughters. The only things that would have affected one or the other pretty much were the stuff on the space station.
Yeah, I didn't see any specifics of what they had to change. Maybe that'll be later in the book that I'm reading. When we talk about it next week, when we get through the big 6-parter thing.
Maybe.
So, I might have stories next week.
There we go. What are we doing next week anyway?
Well, golly, speaking of next week, if you like what you heard and you want to hear more, you can join a Star to Steer Her By every week for our discussions of Star Trek episodes. This is not how I usually do this, but next week we'll be talking about Favor the Bold and Sacrifice of Angels. So we'll be wrapping up the season 6-parter opener
Extravaganza.
There you go. But yeah, if you want to make sure not to miss new episodes, you can subscribe by finding us on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find us on Facebook by searching for A Star to Steer Her By. We are at SSHB Podcast at Tumblr and Twitter, or you can visit sshbpodcast.com to visit our website. Check out some sweet, sweet posts we've done there, including fan fiction that we've written in the past. We've done nice articles about some of our favorite aspects or interesting aspects of the show. We talk about evil admirals. We talk about aesthetics of everything from sweaters to spacecraft. And of course, we also discuss our tops and bottoms for the season. Check out 2 weeks ago, we closed out season 5 and talked about our best favorites and least favorites from that season. And then, of course, at the end of Deep Space Nine, however many months from now, we'll do it for the whole dang show.
Yep.
And we've done it for the whole dang show for TNG and TOS already.
And TAS.
And TAS, so
And
check
Firefly.
that out. All of TAS can be chucked directly into the bin.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah, so we hope that
Except
you'll
for Bem.
give us a
Fuck
follow
you,
and
Jake.
see you next week. My name has been Caitlin.
My name has been Jake.
My name has been Chris.
And my name has been Ames.
I want to serve root beer.
Yum.
We got some in the other room. I want some.
You got some? Bring me one.
Yeah, we got roots beers.
Yeah, I might have to go out and buy some root beer. 'Cause now I
Seriously?
got
All right, but make sure you get ice cream as well.
Yes.
That's true.
Oh, you want some root beer? Oh, do you want it with ice cream too? It's like,
Yes.
bro, do you even treat yourself, Chitarg? Shit.
Fucking Chitarg. You know, here's the thing though. He's just jealous. He loves fucking root beer.
Yep. He has to, sneak it when no one's looking.
I love the idea that Chitarg is just like Mad Dog. That is my, new favorite thing.
Nice.